week, my husband and I started talking about spring break. And while we decided that we're just going down to visit his parents, he said, ooh, maybe we could stop in Moab on the way. So I started looking up hotel rooms and just went, oh, why can't we afford hotel rooms? Until I remembered that we were actually money hacking and everything was going according to plan. So what is money hacking? Well, if you've ever heard of biohacking, it's similar. If you haven't heard of biohacking, it's like Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Body, where he gives you a tip like take a 20-minute nap at the same time every day, and then you only need 6.5 hours of sleep at night instead of 8 hours of sleep because your body has gotten enough REM sleep. Same idea with money hacking. The set points here are kind of like a happiness set point. So if you've ever read Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, you're probably familiar with the idea of upper limits. It's basically like there's only so much happiness that we'll let ourselves tolerate, and if we get too happy, we will offset it with something else to make sure that we're not too happy. I've seen this happen with money. You start to make too much money, and all of a sudden, your marriage falls apart. Or you make too much money, and you don't know what you're doing here on earth, right? So with the set points, we have to ease them open. We have to kind of uncover where they came from. We have to change that story, and it's deep inner work. So in the meantime, we can use money hacking to increase that tolerance so that we can move up our upper limits and basically allow ourselves to be happier. So the idea here is that when you give yourself a raise, that instead of just putting all the money into your account and spending it on who knows what because you weren't paying attention and it didn't even feel like you made more money, except then all of a sudden you have all these other expenses and you're right back to where you started. Instead of that, you open a high yield savings account, which at the time of this recording is paying somewhere between like 3.5% and 4%, which is actually really good. So you open a high yield savings account. Write that down, high yield savings account. And you specifically want savings accounts that have subcategories or categories or subaccounts, buckets. They call them different things depending on the bank. But the idea is there's one account number, and underneath that account, you can choose that your money goes to different things. So you can allocate money to different things. So for instance, we're allocating money towards a new car, towards vacation, and towards ski passes for next year. So we can say this much every month goes to each thing, and that way, when it comes time to pay for it, the money is already there. The beauty of this, though, I mean, that's pretty cool, I think, but the beauty of it is that on a month-to-month basis, I'm still living on what I was making last year, and I can still do what I was taught about, like, oh, we can't afford it. We can never afford it. And then I can remind myself, which raises my set point, oh yeah, we can. We're choosing not to because we've chosen to prioritize a car, a vacation, and ski passes, not just a couple of days in Moab on the way to visit my in-laws. So I hope this makes sense. It's just, again, money hacking so that you feel like you're getting ahead because you're actually paying for the things that you want to without like blowing the top off of your upper limit and then everything else falls apart. So instead of doing this, we're kind of keeping it here and just moving our way up a little bit at a time. So hope it helps. If you do it, tell me how it works. Tell me how excited you are. Like, I'm not the only one geeking out on this, right? So I want to hear how it goes. I'll talk to you soon.